So, hi Steve.
Hi, Kristen.
Today we're going to go through a questionnaire, and it's really kind of a tool just to get to know you. I know that we've met before, but just a chance to kind of, for me really, and for you to understand a bit more about kind of what's going on for you, what things are kind of important, and how we can start to build that into your care plan and make sure that we're really, making sure that we're doing the things that you want to do and helping you in the right way. Does that sound okay?
Sounds like a jolly good idea.
Yeah, good start. So I think a few key points that I always try and mention when I'm first introducing Hope H Opportunity is that it was created by and for people with lived experience of mental health, so that they know that it's not just something that a load of researchers or professionals have come up with. It is based on people's own experiences of mental health, and also just saying that this is just a way of me getting to know you and starting to understand what's important to you.
Typically, when I'm speaking to practitioners or anybody else about my mental health in particular, I tend to suck myself in and not give much away. However, with the skillful help of a practitioner, they can help draw me out, they can help open me up. When I talk to them about these and they help me recognise them, I then suddenly start to realise that I have more about me than this mental illness.
The first question is about hope. So I think the important things to take away when you talk about hope, it's really central to recovery. So I like to mention that to people when I kind of start off. And some of the questions you might ask around hope, things like, what's really important to you? How might things be different? How might you like things to change? What do you enjoy doing? What does a bright future look like? And I think hope is a really big concept to grasp as well. And yeah, especially as the opening question, it's quite a big one. So I think that breaking that down a little bit and, maybe saying to people, what was it in the past that you used to enjoy doing that you're maybe not doing so much of now, but you'd like to get back to? So yeah, agency then, the next question. So agency is maybe a word that people haven't come across in terms of the way that we're using it in the recovery context. Agency in terms of recovery is more about realising that you have choices and you're able to gain or regain a sense of control over your life. It's knowing that you can advocate for yourself and take personal responsibility. It's almost more than just a sense of control. Some of the questions that I would ask when talking about agency are things like, what information do you need to know a bit more about your diagnosis, mental health in general, or medication? People don't often realise that they can ask for more information, and actually that might help them to then make decisions and choices about the care that they receive. And enabling them to take that personal responsibility that we talk about when using the term agency. Other things might be, what do you do to keep yourself well? What's working for you at the moment? Just kind of shedding a bit of light on what they do well and how they might want to work on that a little bit more. So opportunity then. The third question. So when I'm introducing opportunity to people, some of the key things that I like to mention are things like, what are your strengths? What would you like to do? If you could do anything, what would it be? What would that look like? Also, what's happening in their local community that they might like to be involved in. Quite often people are not always aware of the opportunities that might be on their doorstep. So if there's a way that in my work with somebody that I can help them to access those opportunities by knowing what they are and what's important to people, then that's also really key as well. And then working relationships, the final question. So working relationships can sometimes be a little bit of a tricky one, because you're sat there talking about working relationships with the person you're working with. People may have had previous healthcare professionals that they worked really well with, so that's always useful to know. What were the things that they did that we can replicate for our work together as well, and also what were the things that people have done in the past or experiences that they have that haven't been useful, so we can make sure we don't do those. And is that what a good supportive relationship looks like to you? That's quite a key question to ask people, to just sense check with them, is, am I getting this right? Would that be useful for you? So I think another question that I would be asking for working relationships is, what can we do that's helpful for you? What can we do that's supportive? On the back here, what we can start to do now is to think about some of your goals. So at the end of the Hope H Opportunity Questionnaire, there is an option on the back to complete goals. And this is really important because it's a nice way of rounding off the conversation that you've just had and having a direction to move forward. So sometimes people find it really difficult to make goals, and so it may be helpful to start with a longer term goal. Where do they ultimately kind of see themselves, what would they like to achieve, where would they like to be, and then work back from that and break it down into smaller, more manageable goals, and those could form your short-term goals. So it's also important to make sure that the goals that you're setting with people are SMART goals. So they're goals that are achievable, they're measurable, and they're realistic as well. Thank you for going through that and taking the time to really think about those answers. I think that was really useful. So with my section of the HAO questionnaire, that's really useful because then that's my record of what was said in the conversation, and then I can go away and start to build that into a care plan. And that might be something that's really structured to the HAO style. So I might write it in terms of the 4 sections, so hope, agency, opportunity and working relationships, or it might be more of a summary letter type of a care plan. So it kind of varies depending on, I guess, your style and the way that you work. So then bringing it back to a next session with somebody, it's almost a direct kind of representation of, this is what we discussed, this is what you said, these were your goals, and this is how we can move forward together on this. So HAO is a really great way to spark off a conversation, and it's really helpful in terms of following somebody throughout their personal recovery journey.